Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I just wanted to do a quick look at the Ford GTE, which I also bought the same day, but I was just more excited about the Ferrari. But anyway, pretty cool, and somebody messaged me on one of my, the YouTube videos and made a comment about the Ford GTE and suspension histograms looking funny. So, I applaud your effort, Frank Eddy, for going through the work and adding in the all the maths and following through the tutorials and everything. So thank you for that, and great job, and thank you for bringing this to our attention. So I wanted to investigate it. So I'm going to go ahead and do a few laps in the Ford GT for the first time, and then try to look at the Motec and see if there's anything interesting going on there. So let's find out. I wonder what that means. Usually we have the ARB blade position and we have the ARB, I guess you could have like different modulus or like wall thickness, and then outer diameter would change also the torsional stiffness. So maybe that's what we're playing with here, and you just have or maybe they have a different blade design where this is a soft setting and this is the outer diameter of the actual bar, and that's how you're manipulating. So I wonder which one is more of a fine adjustment and which is coarser. Normally I think a coarse adjustment would be the diameter. So medium and then soft. Okay, so it's a middle range, I guess, on the front anti-roll bar. Brake bias is fine. Traction control, TC2. Okay. Everybody's been talking about that, obviously. This one has boost map. Interesting. Boost map in-car control dial. You can change this setting while on track. Setting 1 corresponds to base running map to WC spec limits. Other settings reduce peak boost and intended to limit wheel spin at launch from pit boxes. Okay. Cool. Anyway. Torsion bar preload. Oh boy. Adjust the amount of torsion bar is twisted when it's installed. Used to adjust ride height, make preload changes in pairs. Same change for both front wheels, both left and right diagonals. Okay. Torsion bar OD. Interesting that this car doesn't have a spring perch. Torsion bar preload, torsion bar outer diameter. We do have our typical, oh boy. No, look at this. High speed damper slope. The slope of the high speed compression damping curve is used in conjunction with the high speed damping level to adjust the damping curve shape. Low slope combined with high level produces very digressive curve that control the aero platform and suit large curb strikes. High slope and low level produces linear curve that typically suit bumpier tracks. Minimum damping at 0 setting, maximum damping at 11. Okay, so we have some interesting adjustments there, and then we have our drivetrain adjustments. See what the notes say. Let's just try to make a couple of clean laps. Yeah, feeling the car out. It feels heavy. It also feels like it has good downforce, but you know, it's not an open wheel car either. Right now it's understeering a lot. The aero balance also seems to be a little bit understeery on the high speed stuff. Also, the gearing is definitely not optimal for this racetrack. The gearing is not optimal. I definitely think the suspension setting is definitely not optimal either. Oddly enough, I mean, I'm definitely lacking front end grip. Man, understeering a lot to that last corner. I mean, I definitely have the wheel cranked over. Let's try second gear through here. Couldn't get the car back down. The display is nice. I'm gonna make a right there. I think I made a brake bias adjustment. It doesn't show you brake bias on the display, so we won't know. Back down to second gear. A little bit better. Wow. Oh, I bent it. All right. Well, let's look at the replay. Okay, so we just got back from the racetrack, and that was pretty interesting. I think the car, I would like to, I guess, have to drive the same car at the same track, but it definitely didn't feel like it had the same level of downforce that the Ford had. It felt like the Ford was a little bit more planted, and I guess that caused me to overdrive the first laps that I did because I was really sending the car into the corner expecting there to be a certain level of grip, and it really just wasn't there. The brake bias and the braking ability, I think I was locking up the brakes a little bit more with this car. I had to move the brake bias back a little bit, which also helped in that turn-in rotation. The gearing was obviously not set up right. I mean, the general setup wasn't really good for Lime Rock. Lime Rock is just too short of a track and everything. So I think it can be improved a whole lot for sure. And so, I mean, not too much. I mean, you can't really give your impressions of a car just after doing a couple laps. But yeah, maybe it's just my fault for thinking they would have much more downforce than that. But anyway, it was fast. It was fun. I liked, you know, it was correctable. There were moments there where, you know, you can definitely have to hustle the hands and you know, just quick cams, quick catches here and there. So I thought it was fun experience, and it had a lot of character, I would say. And then there's some people that like driving cars like that that I think are gonna definitely tend towards a Ford because it has a little bit more character, I think, and maybe in that sense becomes a little bit more fun to drive. So anyway, the thing that kind of took me by surprise was the garage setup. So it turns out that this car has different stuff than the other cars that we've never seen on iRacing before. So then I went on Google just to search and see if there's anything interesting that we can learn about the suspension just by looking at photos or just looking it up. So I mean, the only thing that I found that was interesting is this photo, but this is not the Ford GT. This is a Daytona prototype, the Ganassi ran. So you can see that has a different type of suspension. Couldn't really find anything on it, but from what we saw in the garage, definitely the car has something interesting going on there with its suspension design. Now this is, I guess, this is a photo of 2017 Ford GT suspension, but this is probably the street car and not the race car, but who knows, maybe they decided to use something similar and not, you know, have a completely different design on the suspension. Let's see if it loads up. But this would definitely be very interesting in design because, and this would probably cause a problem for the readings in Motec if there's an issue with the suspension histograms, because what we see here is we have this push rod. This is a rocker that's rotating, and kind of strange. I don't see what it's rotating here, and it's not going to collide with this. So I wonder what it does. This is a damper here, shown in blue. So this is going to be rotating back and forth, or left and right, as the suspension moves up and down. This is going to be rotating this green bar, and then we have a spring here. So kind of interesting. Maybe there's like a torsional spring inside of this housing as well. Who knows? But this is definitely a very unique design. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, so it's an interesting curve, and you can notice that as we're playing around with this, it's moving quite a lot. But this is an average of 5 laps, and we're getting this with it. So first of all, I guess let's look through the channels and see what's available. So when you look down, you can go to channels on the left here, and you can see everything that's being exported. And these, first it shows all the maths, and then you have the icons here for all the channels that are being exported and everything from Motec. So let's see if there's anything new or interesting about this car that maybe is different about the others. So we have left, right height, right shock deflection, left front shock velocity, left front speed, left front temperature, left front brake line pressure, cold pressure, right height, temperatures, lap. Push to pass. That's strange. Roll rates. I guess we probably always have that. Okay. Okay, what else? We can go to set of values. And here we can see a few more things. Here we'll see the date. This is more like constant data that's sent out. Barometric pressure, and then the car setup stuff. Just want to check if there's anything different about the suspension like damper settings. So again, it does show you a torsion bar OD, just like it did for all the other ones. This is just different. Traction control setting, torsion bar preload, torsion bar height. So what this means is that there's going to be a lot of broken stuff in your in your workbook. So that's why you have to go and make a copy and just let all that stuff change. So, oops, not that. So workspace, now I have a new one. I made a copy of the Ferrari 488 workspace, and I made a new one called Ford GTE. So that means I can change stuff. Like when I go here, I expect, so left front spring rate, these are broken now. And so is the ARB blades, front and rear, because that doesn't exist in this case. So that's why I think that you need to change this stuff. Let's go ahead and make a check right here, display. Right now, it's making calculations based off suspension position channels. And I wonder how suspension position. I wonder if that would be different if we made it different. left front shock deflection. So let's experiment and let's check some stuff. So right now we're using suspension position channel, and let's check the left front. Let's use left front shock deflection and see what happens. Absolutely not. So it's alive. That seems to break it. So that doesn't change anything. We're still seeing the same numbers. Exactly the same. So that doesn't change anything. Okay. So this is what I think is going on. The suspension on the Ford GTE is unique. So it's involving rockers and possibly involving a rocker, and possibly doesn't have the damper and the spring in the same place. It might not be like a coilover shock. So then what that means is that we might not have a 1-to-1 ratio between the speed of where the potentiometer is for the suspension position and where the damper is. Nothing says that potentiometer has to be located where that damper is. So that's my first guess as to why our velocities are so high. It's just simply because the two are in a different position. The other possibility, which is also there, is just that they could be there, but there's an extreme motion ratio between the damper and the wheel. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is control the wheel movement, the vertical wheel movement, and trying to obviously reduce excessive vibration or oscillation. We're trying to have, optimal damping. And that means that every time that you go over bumps, that the shaking should settle down as quickly as possible, and you shouldn't have continued oscillations, which you would have if you only had a spring and no dampers. So the wheel must still be probably moving up and down at a reasonable rate of 20 to 25 millimeters per second, but our dampers are moving faster according to this. The damper may or may not be moving faster. It's just dependent on the location of the sensor for the potentiometer for the suspension position. Now you'll notice, let me do it again. If you right click and you go to properties on the histogram values, you'll notice here that there is something called motion ratio. And by default, it's set to 1 for the front and rear. Use motion ratio to convert suspension position to damper position. Use 1-to-1 if measuring damper position. My guess is that we're not measuring the damper position, that we're measuring something else. So what happens if you go to, what do we need to do? Well, whatever. It's either half or it's 2. Let's try in this and see what happens. See, so that reduces that. So now the right rear is at 25, the front right is at 27, the left front is at 34, and the left rear is at 36. So that makes a big difference. What we're seeing is that the left side, so this is the front right, this is the front left. Okay, so the left sides are having higher velocities than the rears, but that's here. So this is obviously an average that we're looking at, and we see that the peaks, or the amount of time spent at 0 between the right side and the left side, is about the same, but we do have a difference in front and rear. Oh no. Yeah, no. This is actually, it's a huge difference. These aren't the front. This is just this is the right side of the car, and this is the left side of the car. So it may be obviously because Lime Rock is kind of like all one direction, That's probably the case here as to why it's doing this. You could try an asymmetrical setup and see if that helps the situation or not. But I think that this is going to be the solve for the problem. It's just that it's really a case of motion ratios. So what that means is that for this math here, you just need to pick a motion ratio and do the same thing, just factor that in. Or you can just know in your head that, you find an optimal setup, one that, you're on the track and first in practice and really competitive times, and you like the balance and it's using the tires correctly. You can come back to Motec and take note of whatever that means. If it's 60 millimeters per second, 50 or 70, and then just make a note of that, and then you're on your way. You're perfectly fine. You just need to be aware that now your target number is something else. So I'm fairly certain that that's the case. That it's a case of a motion ratio where we're not measuring the damper velocity, but we're measuring something else, and therefore the damper velocity is a function of that, and it'll be a linear relationship. So that's why you can just use a simple motion ratio factor to correct it. All in all, what do I see with this? It's not too bad. I'm sure I have a lap somewhere from Lime Rock. Track. How do I, let's go set my menu and Lime Rock. I only have laps in the MX-5, I guess. Forget it. More importantly, things like this, like in this case, the damper velocity average is showing me 0, 0, 0, 0. So that's important to check. And I guess let's see how to improve on this. So when I look at this, I definitely think that it looks like we need to bring these in line. It needs more high-speed damping. More high-speed damping on the left side for some reason. Yeah, I can't believe the left side is so much higher velocities than the right. So, I mean, is it really worth fixing? Because that's just a natural function of the racetrack and the fact that we're just turning in one direction. So, I mean, I used to do a lot of NASCAR before, a long time ago, and I don't touch it anymore. So it's almost like you almost need a NASCAR setup for this racetrack. But if I was trying to really get these damper curves to be the same, then I would definitely add more high-speed damping to the right side dampers all the way around rebound and compression, and maybe take away a little bit of the high-speed damping from the right side. So more damping on the lefts, less damping on the rights. I think that would help. And then the symmetry, what else? The pink one, the pink line, that's the rear left. That one's showing like it has a little bit more bias towards compression. So maybe we need to reduce a little bit of the compression and add a little bit more rebound. The other ones seem to show good symmetry, but the rear left is not showing as good a symmetry as I would like. You can see that here, 24% versus 22. Like these are 24, 23, 29, 29. 30, 32. Okay, but this is a little bit, well, I guess these two, that's the rear left and the rear right. So both of these can come to the left a little bit by adding a little bit more rebound and taking away a little bit of compression. And the high speed is all right. I would just start with that. So in summary, again, so it's more damping on the left, less damping on the right, high speed stuff all the way around. And then I would add rebound and maybe add like 2 clicks of rebound, low speed to the rear left and take away a little bit of compression. Maybe take out 1 click of compression, add 2 clicks of rebound to the rear left and the rear right. Same thing. Add 2 clicks of rebound, take away 1 click of bump. Okay, so interesting. I think the motion ratio stuff is going to sort it out, what the problem was. So again, velocity calculations. Let's see, maybe 0.4. So 0.4, I think I like a little bit better. So go with that. Maybe just add your motion ratio there, and then you're all good. So I hope you found this useful. Thank you for writing in the comment and bringing this to my attention. And I hope you guys continue to learn about Motec and data analysis, and helping that hopefully that will help out your performance on the racetrack. Okay, so until next time, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and comment whenever you have a question or anything that you want to bring to my attention, and maybe I can make a video for it. Okay, so thanks again, guys.